Far away in the cold darkness of space, deep beyond the shining stars, something strange began to happen. On the edge of the Andromeda sector, a faint signal appeared, weak at first, then growing stronger every minute. The alien scanning stations picked it up, and alarms echoed across their control rooms. It was no ordinary transmission. The signal carried patterns, rhythmic pulses, and structured data. It wasn't random. Someone or something was sending a message. The Galactic Council, a great alliance of 20 alien civilizations, gathered in their floating fortress, a massive space station the size of a moon. Inside the Grand Chamber, the alien commanders looked at the holographic screen showing the signal source. It came from a small blue planet on the edge of a forgotten system, Earth. The aliens had known of humans for centuries. To them, humans were a young race, curious, emotional, but weak. They had small ships, simple weapons, and short lifespans. The Council never saw them as a threat. In fact, they called them the Talkers, because humans love to communicate, negotiate, and dream, but never fight wars beyond their own world. But this signal, this was something different. Admiral Zahn, a tall insectoid alien with glowing red eyes, slammed his hand on the console. Impossible. Humans cannot generate this level of power. Their technology is primitive. Another alien, Commander Virex, spoke calmly. Yet the readings are real. Look, energy level 7. They are transmitting through folded quantum bands. Even our own fleets cannot do that easily. The room went silent. None of them wanted to believe it, but the evidence was clear. The humans had discovered something new, something powerful. Meanwhile, light years away, a lone alien observation ship drifted near the human system. Its crew watched Earth from a safe distance, hidden in deep space. Their sensors recorded massive energy surges near the moon. They magnified the image, and what they saw froze them in disbelief. A colossal structure was forming in orbit around the moon. Huge metal plates, glowing engines and energy conduits surrounded it. Drones and shuttles moved in perfect synchronization. It wasn't a space station. It wasn't a colony. It was something far more dangerous. It was a warship. The captain of the alien ship whispered, "No, this cannot be. Humans are building a vessel larger than any in the Council's fleet." They sent the data back to the Council immediately. When the message arrived, chaos erupted. The Council leaders shouted, argued, and denied the truth. "Humans don't have this kind of technology," one screamed. "It must be stolen," said another. But the energy signature didn't match any known alien design. It was completely unique. The humans had built it themselves. In a dark corner of the chamber, an older alien scientist named Xylar sat silently, studying the readings. Xylar was one of the few who respected humans. He admired their stubbornness, their courage, and their endless curiosity. Finally he spoke, his voice calm but filled with concern. "Do you not see? This is what humans do. When faced with the impossible, they build it anyway." The Council fell silent. Back near the moon, the construction continued day and night. The humans called it Project Olympus. Only the highest-ranking commanders and scientists knew the full plan. Every nation on Earth had united for the first time in history to create it. The warship was not meant for conquest, but for defense, a symbol that humanity would never again bow to any alien power. Inside a secret command center beneath the surface, Commander Reyes stood before a large viewing screen. His eyes reflected the glow of the massive structure taking shape. Engineers reported progress. The hull plating was complete. The core chamber was nearly ready. Reyes whispered to himself, "They think we are weak. Let them keep thinking that." Back in space, the alien spy ship tried to get closer for a better look. Its scanners glowed faintly, scanning the massive ship. But suddenly, the human sensors detected it. A blinding flash of light shot out from the moon's orbit. A warning beam, powerful enough to disable the alien ship's stealth system. Panic spread among the crew. "They have seen us," shouted the pilot. The alien ship turned and jumped to faster-than-light speed, barely escaping. For a few seconds before they fled, they saw something terrifying. The unfinished warship had already powered up one of its engines, and even half-built, its energy output was beyond anything they had ever recorded. When the alien ship finally reached safe distance, the captain reported his findings. "The Terrans are not who we thought they were. They are building something that defies all logic." The Galactic Council received the report and stared in silence. The humans, the race they once laughed at, were now creating something that could shake the balance of the galaxy. In the cold silence of space, the half-finished warship floated, massive, silent and glowing with strange blue light. Its name was written along the side in bold white letters, TSS Olympus, and far below on the blue planet, humanity prepared for the day when they would finally show the galaxy what they were truly capable of in the silent orbit around the moon. The great human creation slowly took shape. The massive ship, TSS Olympus, floated like a sleeping giant in the darkness. Thousands of lights blinked across its surface as engineers and robots worked day and night. The project was so secret that even most people on Earth didn't know it existed. Only the top scientists, soldiers, and leaders had access to its blueprints. They called it Project Olympus, humanity's greatest and most dangerous dream. Commander Reyes, the man in charge, stood inside the main observation deck of the moon base. The large glass window showed him the endless stars and the shining body of the warship. He watched silently, arms crossed, while technicians gave reports behind him. Every sound, every movement inside the base mattered. "Reactor section is stable," one engineer reported. "Good," Reyes said. His voice was calm but strong. "Begin Phase 3 tomorrow. We test the Zero Core in 72 hours. The Zero Core, that was the heart of the Olympus. A new kind of engine, using a strange form of energy that bent the fabric of space itself. It was something no alien race had ever built. The idea came from an accident decades ago, when a human scientist noticed that small bursts of energy could warp gravity for a split second. Now that small discovery had become the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Dr. Alyssa Grant, the lead scientist on the project, entered the room carrying a datapad. She looked tired. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. "Commander," she said, "we're ready for the first energy transfer test. But I must warn you again. If the calculations are off by even 1%, the entire moon base could be destroyed." Reyes nodded slowly. "I know the risks, Doctor, but the aliens are watching us. We cannot stop now." Down below in the main hangar, hundreds of engineers floated in zero gravity, connecting cables and testing circuits. Sparks flashed as metal arms welded giant plates together. The ship's hull stretched for miles, strong, silver, and almost alive. Each time a new section was completed, the workers cheered softly through their comms. They knew they were building history. Back on Earth, news agencies had begun to ask questions. Some amateur astronomers had spotted strange lights near the moon. The government denied everything, saying it was routine satellite work. But whispers spread. Something huge was happening up there. Meanwhile, in the shadows of deep space, alien eyes were watching. The observation fleet of the Galactic Council had returned, keeping a safe distance but recording everything. Their scanners could barely read the energy output. It was too strong, too unstable. Inside one of the alien ships, Commander Virex frowned as he studied the readings. "How can a primitive race create something like this?" he asked. His science officer replied quietly, "They are not primitive anymore, sir. Look at their progress. In less than a century, they've advanced faster than any known species." Virex leaned closer to the hologram. "If they finish that ship, the balance of power in the galaxy will change forever." Back at the moon base, Dr. Grant and her team activated the zero-core containment field for the first time. The room glowed bright blue as streams of energy curved around the sphere. The air seemed to hum with power. "Energy levels rising," said one technician. "Hold steady," Dr. Grant ordered. "Keep it below 20%, but the energy kept rising on its own. The readings spiked. Sparks flew from the control panels. The hum grew louder until it felt like the entire station was shaking. "Shut it down," someone shouted. Dr. Grant hit the emergency switch and everything went dark. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the lights slowly came back on. The core floated quietly, stable again. "Did we lose containment?" Reyes asked over the radio. "No, sir," Dr. Grant replied. Her voice trembled, but there was pride in it too. "We did it." "The zero-core works." Cheers filled the command center. Humanity had just taken its first step into a new age, but far away the aliens were not cheering. In the council chamber, panic spread as new reports came in. The humans had achieved a stable space-time fold. That meant faster-than-light travel without using any known jump gates. It also meant they could appear anywhere in the galaxy. Instantly. Admiral Zarn slammed his fist on the table. This cannot continue. We must demand that the Terrans stop this project before it threatens us all. But Xylar, the old scientist, spoke softly once again. If you try to stop them now, you will only prove why they built it in the first place. The day had finally come. For weeks, the crew of Project Olympus had prepared for this moment, the first full power test of the Zero Core. Every system was checked, every wire and panel tested again and again. The engineers barely slept. The scientists barely ate. Everyone on the moon base felt the same mixture of fear and excitement. Commander Reyes stood on the observation deck, staring at the giant warship floating in the dark sky. It was ready. The massive hull gleamed in the light of the distant sun. From the control room windows, it looked like a silver mountain drifting silently among the stars. Dr. Alyssa Grant and her team were already in the core chamber. Surrounded by glowing monitors and floating data screens, she looked at the readings one last time. Everything seemed perfect, but her hands still trembled. "This is it," she said quietly. "No turning back." The countdown began. "Zero core test in T-5 minutes, announced the computer. Down below, robotic arms disconnected power cables and moved away from the ship. The outer engines started to hum. Lights along the hull flickered to life one by one, like beating hearts. The sound echoed through the base, deep, heavy, and powerful. Reyes opened the main channel. "All stations, this is Commander Reyes. Today we make history. Remember, humanity has always reached for the impossible. Let's show the galaxy what that means." 4 minutes to activation, the voice said again. Inside the alien observation ship hiding far beyond the moon, Commander Virex watched with wide eyes. His sensors showed energy readings climbing faster than expected. "Their reactor output is rising too quickly," he said. "It's unstable." But the humans continued. 2 minutes, Dr. Grant said. "Energy levels at 60%. "Hold steady," Reyes replied. The core chamber glowed brighter and brighter until it was almost blinding. The light turned blue, then white, bending the air itself. The walls began to hum. The readings spiked. 80%, 90. "Begin stabilization," Grant ordered. "Zero core activation in 3, 2, 1. A flash of pure light exploded across the screen. For a second, every monitor went dark. The ship disappeared from radar. The room shook violently. People grabbed onto their stations. Then silence. The Olympus was gone. The entire moon base froze. Engineers shouted. Communications officers tried to reconnect. Dr. Grant's heart pounded in her chest. "We lost it," she whispered. "We lost the whole ship." Commander Reyes stared at the blank screen. "No debris?" "None, sir. It just vanished." Back in deep space, alien sensors went wild, their monitors filled with static and bursts of impossible data. The human ship had not exploded. It had folded space around itself and vanished completely from this dimension. Admiral Zarn, watching from the alien command center, shouted, "They destroyed themselves." But Xylar, the scientist, leaned closer to his screen and smiled faintly. "No, they succeeded." Minutes passed. Then suddenly alarms blared again. "Unknown object detected is behind us," shouted the alien officer. The massive shape of the Olympus reappeared, not near the moon but right behind the alien observation fleet, millions of kilometers away from where it started. Virex froze. "That's impossible!" The warship hovered silently, its engines glowing with an eerie blue light. Then, without warning, it sent a short transmission, a simple message. "Test complete." The aliens panicked. Their ships turned quickly and fled. None of them wanted to stay near that thing any longer. Back at the moon base, the humans cheered. The control room filled with applause and tears. They had done it. They had achieved faster-than-light travel without any jump gates. The Olympus had folded space itself, moving across the stars in seconds. Dr. Grant smiled weakly and said, "It worked. It really worked." Commander Reyes looked at the main screen, showing the glowing ship slowly returning to the test site. "We did the impossible," he whispered. But deep inside he knew something else. This power would change everything. Later, reports from alien spies confirmed the event. The Galactic Council received the recordings, and fear spread through every world. Some called for peace, others called for immediate war. "They have broken the laws of the universe," one alien general shouted. "If humans can move anywhere, they can destroy us without warning." But Xylar stood before them and said quietly, "Or they can save us from ourselves. It depends on how we treat them now." The council fell silent. Back on Earth, the news of the test was kept secret. Only a few leaders knew the truth. To the rest of humanity, the moon base was just a scientific research station. But among those who knew, there was no denying it. The Olympus had become more than a ship. It was a symbol, a message to the stars. Humanity had crossed the final barrier, the barrier of impossibility, and somewhere out in the vast, dark galaxy, every alien race now looked toward Earth with new eyes. Not as a young species, but as something far more dangerous. The Terrans had built the impossible, and the universe would never forget that day. The universe changed in one day. The moment the TSS Olympus vanished and reappeared across millions of kilometers, every alien sensor, every satellite, every deep space probe recorded it. Within hours, the news reached every corner of the galaxy. Humanity had done something that even the oldest and most powerful races could not. They had bent space itself. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, chaos broke out. Thousands of alien delegates shouted across the chamber. Screens flickered with data, and the air was filled with the sound of panic. The Council's leaders, proud beings from ancient empires, could not believe that the young, reckless humans had achieved the impossible. "They have broken every law of physics we know," cried Admiral Zahn, his sharp metallic wings trembling with rage. "They are a danger to us all," yelled another delegate, slamming the table. The High Chancellor, a tall crystal-skinned being named Vithar, tried to calm them. "Order, we must think before we act," but there was no calm. The council chamber became a storm of fear and anger. "They can appear anywhere they want," shouted one alien general. "They could attack our worlds without warning," said another. "They must be stopped." Only one voice remained quiet, the old scientist Xylar. He sat alone at the end of the long table, his silver eyes watching the hologram of the human warship turning slowly in space. The image glowed softly in front of him, massive and beautiful. Finally, Xylar spoke. "Do you not see what this means? They have done what we believed was impossible, not for war but for survival. They are not preparing to attack. They are preparing to protect themselves." His words cut through the noise for a moment, but only for a moment. Admiral Zahn turned to him sharply. "Protect themselves from what? No one was planning to harm them." Xylar gave a small, sad smile. "You forget, Admiral. We never gave them a choice. We have watched them, judged them, and called them primitive. Perhaps they built this so they would never be judged again." The chamber went silent. Far away on the moon base, Commander Reyes stood before the large glass window, staring at the Olympus. The ship now floated quietly, its engines dim, its hull reflecting the light of Earth below. It looked peaceful, but everyone knew it was the most powerful weapon ever built. Dr. Alyssa Grant joined him, holding a data tablet. "The Zero Core is stable," she said softly. "We could take it to full power again any time." Reyes nodded. "We won't, not yet. The galaxy is watching us now." He knew what was coming. The aliens would not stay silent. Humanity had challenged the balance of power, and power always brought fear. Sure enough, only hours later, the first alien message arrived. A deep voice echoed through the communication chamber. "This is the Galactic Council. Terrans, you have violated interstellar safety laws by creating technology beyond your authorization. You are ordered to dismantle the warship immediately." Reyes stared at the screen and replied calmly, "We built this ship to defend ourselves, not to threaten others," the alien voice hissed. "Defense leads to offense. Your creation is a danger to us all." Reyes leaned closer. "You fear what you do not control. We will not be told what we can or cannot build. Humanity decides its own future." The line went silent. The aliens had no answer. Back in the council chamber, arguments continued. Some wanted to destroy Earth before humans could build another ship. Others wanted to open peace talks and share technology. Fear divided them. A small group of alien fleets even moved closer to human space, not to attack yet, but to observe. Xylar watched this unfold with worry. He turned to the council. "If you send ships to their borders, they will see it as a threat. And if they defend themselves, you will call it war. Don't do this," but no one listened. On Earth, humans began to prepare for anything. The world government stayed silent, but every defense satellite went online. Secret factories built new parts and energy cells for the Olympus. The people didn't know the details, but they could feel something coming, something big. Commander Reyes called his officers together. "If they come, we hold the line. But remember, we are not conquerors. We are builders. We fight only if they force us to." The officers nodded. No one wanted war, but they all knew it might be unavoidable. Out in space, the alien fleet approached quietly, scanning the moon base. Their sensors focused on the Olympus, trying to find weaknesses. But every scan failed. The ship's systems scrambled their technology. One alien pilot whispered, "It's like it's watching us." The stars around Earth were no longer peaceful. Alien ships now moved silently through the darkness, circling the edge of human space. They called themselves an observation fleet. But everyone knew the truth. They were there to measure human strength, and to test how far the Terrans would go. Commander Reyes stood inside the control room of the Olympus, watching the live feed of the alien fleet on the main screen. Dozens of ships, sharp, dark, and shaped like blades, hovered at the edge of the solar system. They didn't fire, but they didn't leave either. Dr. Alyssa Grant entered quietly, her face pale. "They've crossed the warning line," she said. "If they come any closer, they'll be within Earth's defense zone," Reyes nodded. His voice was calm but heavy. "Then it's time." He turned to his crew. "Activate all systems. Bring the Olympus online." The warship came alive. Blue light spread through its corridors. The hull shimmered as power flowed through every system. The zero core began to hum, soft at first, then louder, deeper, like a living heartbeat. Outside, space itself seemed to twist slightly around the ship. Every sensor on every alien ship suddenly lit up with warnings. Their computers screamed, "Energy spike detected." Spatial distortion forming. On the bridge of the alien flagship, Commander Virek stared at his screen in disbelief. "They're powering up the zero core again." "But for what purpose?" His second-in-command replied nervously, "Sir, our orders are to maintain position." "Then maintain it," Virek said, though his voice trembled. "Do not provoke them." Back on the Olympus, Reyes watched the alien formation carefully. "They're holding position," he said. "Good. Let's keep it that way." Dr. Grant looked uneasy. "They're afraid, but fear makes people dangerous. One wrong move could start a war." Reyes nodded slowly. "Then let's show them something they'll never forget." He gave the order. "Initiate fold jump, short range." A low hum filled the air. Lights dimmed. Space outside began to shimmer like water. In a flash of white light, the Olympus vanished. For a heartbeat, the entire alien fleet was blind. Their sensors couldn't track it. Their radars went black. Then a new alert. Unidentified object detected behind us. Every alien officer turned in shock. The massive human warship had reappeared right behind them, silent and still. Its guns were not raised, but its presence was overwhelming. The ship's hull glowed with soft blue energy, bending starlight around it. Virex's voice shook. How did they—" Before he could finish, a message appeared on his screen. It came from the Olympus. A calm human voice spoke. "We do not wish for war, but you are standing at our door. Do not test our peace." Silence filled every alien bridge. Even the hum of their engines seemed to fade. Virex slowly stood and said quietly, "They could have destroyed us." His second officer nodded. "But they didn't." Virex turned to the communication officer. "Transmit this message to the Council. The Terrans are not to be underestimated. They have power beyond logic, and yet they choose restraint." The alien fleet began to retreat one ship at a time, turning slowly toward the dark edge of space. None dared to make a sudden move. Inside the Olympus, the crew watched the alien ships disappear from the radar. A wave of relief filled the command room. Some people smiled. Some cried quietly. Dr. Grant looked at Commander Reyes. "You scared them without firing a single shot." Reyes nodded. "Fear isn't our goal. Understanding is." He turned toward the window and looked out at Earth glowing softly below. Now they know we're not children anymore. But even as peace returned to the quiet sky, Reyes couldn't relax. He knew this was only the beginning. Power like the Olympus didn't just protect, it attracted attention. Every empire, every hidden faction in the galaxy would now want to know what else the humans could do. And somewhere deep within the Galactic Council's fortress, Admiral Zarn slammed his metallic fist against the table. "They humiliated us," he shouted. "They played with our fleet like it was nothing. Xyler, the scientist, stood nearby, calm as always. "They could have destroyed you," he said softly. "Instead, they gave you mercy. That is something you should fear even more." Back on the moon, the humans celebrated quietly. The warship Olympus returned to orbit, glowing faintly against the black sky. Its engines powered down, and its shields folded like wings at rest. Reyes stood alone in the observation bay. Below him, the Earth turned slowly, blue, bright, and full of life. Dr. Grant's voice came through the intercom. "Commander, the Council has withdrawn all ships from the solar system." Reyes smiled slightly. "Good. Let's hope they learn something today." He looked up at the stars and whispered to himself, "Now the galaxy knows. Humanity stands on its own." The Olympus drifted silently, calm and strong. The warship that once seemed impossible had now changed the course of history, not with destruction but with restraint. The humans had proven their power. The aliens had learned their lesson, and the galaxy for the first time truly feared and respected the Terrans. But far away, deep in the shadows between stars, others were already watching. New eyes, new threats, new curiosity. The age of human isolation was over, and the story of Olympus was far from finished. The stars had never looked so calm. Weeks had passed since the great encounter between the TSS Olympus and the alien fleet. The galaxy, once loud with fear and threats, had grown strangely silent. Every alien civilization now knew the truth. Humanity had done the impossible. No one dared to challenge them again. From the moon's orbit, the Olympus floated quietly above Earth. Its silver hull reflected the blue light of the planet below. The great ship, once seen as a weapon, now stood as a guardian, a silent promise that humanity would never again be underestimated. Commander Reyes stood in the command deck, hands behind his back watching the stars. His crew worked softly around him. There was no tension now, only quiet pride. Dr. Alyssa Grant entered the room holding a tablet full of new readings. She smiled faintly. "The energy core is stable. The ship could run for centuries without refueling." Reyes nodded. "Good. Let's hope we won't need to use its full power again." Alyssa looked out at the stars beside him. "Do you think they'll come back?" Reyes was silent for a moment, then said, "No, not to fight, but maybe to talk." And he was right. A few days later, the Galactic Council sent a message, not a warning this time, but a request. They wanted peace talks. They wanted to understand the humans who had built the impossible. For the first time in history, Earth was invited to the Council of Worlds as an equal. In a vast chamber floating between the stars, Commander Reyes and Dr. Grant stood side by side as human representatives. Around them sat the most powerful alien leaders in the galaxy, beings of every shape and color, all staring at the two humans who had changed everything. High Chancellor Vithar spoke first, his crystal body glowing faintly. "Terrans, we have watched your progress. We feared you. We tried to control you, but we were wrong." Reyes replied calmly, "Humanity never wanted war. We only wanted to be safe, to stand on our own feet." Xyler, the old scientist, smiled softly from across the chamber. "And now you do. You built what we said could not be built. You reached where no one dared to reach." The aliens murmured in agreement. The fear that once filled their eyes had changed. Now it was respect. From that day forward, the Terran Alliance was born, a union of Earth and its colonies, standing as an equal among the stars. But even with peace declared, something deeper began to stir across the galaxy. Other races began studying the Olympus, trying to understand how humans achieved what they could not. Some sought to learn, others sought to copy. A few wanted to surpass it, and yet none succeeded, because the secret of the Olympus was not just in its design or its engine. It was in the people who built it, in their courage to try when everyone said it was impossible. Back on the moon, the great ship remained in orbit, quiet, watchful, alive. The crew often said the Olympus seemed to feel the space around it, like it was aware of everything. Some even believed it had developed a consciousness from the Zero Core's energy fields. One night, Dr. Grant stood alone in the observation deck. The stars shimmered around her, and the soft hum of the ship filled the silence. She whispered, "You changed everything, didn't you?" The ship's lights pulsed once gently, as if answering her. Meanwhile, across alien worlds, stories spread. They spoke of the Terrans, the small emotional, fragile beings who built the warship that defied logic. Children on distant planets whispered the legend when the humans came. The stars themselves bent to their will. Some saw humanity as heroes, others saw them as a threat. But all agreed on one thing: nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. Months later, Xylar visited Earth. The old alien scientist stood beside Reyes at the edge of the great ocean. Watching the sunrise, he said quietly, "You've given hope to more than just your own people. You've reminded the galaxy that there are no limits." Reyes smiled. "We didn't do it to prove anything. We just refused to give up." Xylar nodded slowly. "That is why you succeeded." They stood in silence as the sunlight reflected off the waves. Above them, high in orbit, the Olympus moved gracefully across the sky. A bright star that wasn't a star at all, and so began the new era, a time of exploration, unity, and quiet tension. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest but through willpower.